The dog who saved a family from a house fire. Imagine a night like any other, with a family settling into the comfort of their home, unaware that disaster is just moments away. But in the shadows, a loyal dog senses something no one else does, a growing danger. This is the story of Max, the brave dog who didn't just warn his family about the fire. He saved their lives. This is a tale of love, instinct, and the unbreakable bond between a family and their four-legged protector. It was a quiet evening in the Thompson household. The sun had set hours ago, leaving behind a cool twilight that softened the edges of the world outside. Inside, the house was a haven of warmth and comfort, with soft lamplight casting gentle shadows on the walls. The children, Lily and Ben, were tucked into their beds, their favorite night light glowing faintly in the corner. Tom and Sarah, the parents, sat on the couch, enjoying a peaceful moment together as the evening stretched on. The world outside seemed still, with only the occasional rustle of trees in the breeze. But Max, their golden retriever, was restless. Max had been with the Thompsons for 5 years, ever since they adopted him from the shelter. He was the epitome of loyalty, a loving companion who had been with them through every move, every birthday, and every challenge. His golden coat gleamed in the low light, but tonight, something was different. He paced back and forth across the living room, his usual calm demeanor replaced by a sense of unease. He sniffed the air, his nostrils flaring, and then went to the window, looking out at the darkening night. Sarah noticed the change in his behavior. "What's the matter, Max?" she asked, setting her book down and watching the dog with concern. Normally, Max was content to curl up on his favorite spot on the rug, but tonight, he couldn't sit still. His ears were perked, and his eyes, usually soft and friendly, were wide and alert. Tom looked over from his seat. "What's going on with him?" he asked. Max had always been a little quirky, but this was different. His normally wagging tail was stiff, and he let out a low growl, something they rarely heard from him. Max moved quickly to the door, scratching at it with his paw. He barked once, sharply, and then looked back at Sarah and Tom with pleading eyes. It wasn't a playful bark. This was urgent. Something was wrong. Sarah stood up, her concern deepening. "Maybe he needs to go out?" she suggested, though she wasn't convinced that was the issue. She went over to the door and opened it just a crack. Max bolted out onto the porch without a second thought, his body tense and rigid. Sarah followed, calling his name, but he was already darting toward the side of the house, sniffing the air again. Tom joined her, standing behind her. "What do you think's going on?" he asked, frowning. Max was usually so well-behaved. This behavior was unsettling. Suddenly, Sarah froze. There on the breeze was a faint but unmistakable smell, something burning. Her stomach dropped, and she turned to look at Tom, her voice trembling. "Do you smell that?" Tom inhaled sharply, his face going pale. "It smells like smoke." Before either of them could react, a sharp crackling sound echoed through the air. Tom's heart skipped a beat. The fire was small at first, barely a whisper of flame, but it was growing fast. The kitchen. It was coming from the kitchen. Max had already bolted back to the door. He was scratching furiously, barking more frantically now. Sarah and Tom rushed inside, their hearts pounding, but it was already too late. The fire had started on the counter. A forgotten candle had tipped over, igniting a towel that had been carelessly left nearby. The flames licked at the wooden cabinets, spreading quickly. "Oh my God," Sarah gasped, backing away from the blaze as panic set in. "We need to get out. Now!" Tom acted immediately, rushing toward the kitchen to grab a nearby fire extinguisher. But the fire was moving faster than he could manage, the smoke thickening with every passing second. It wasn't safe to stay here. "Sarah, grab the kids. We need to go." Sarah nodded, her face pale, and turned toward the stairs. "Lily! Ben!" she screamed, rushing to their rooms. She flung open Lily's door first, finding her still sleeping soundly, unaware of the danger. But Max was already there, standing by the bed, his body trembling with anxiety. He barked once, a sharp sound that jolted Lily awake. Lily sat up, her eyes wide. "Mom? What's happening?" she asked, her voice small and confused. "Get up, sweetheart," We need to go now. Sarah's voice was strained as she grabbed her daughter's hand and pulled her toward the door. Max jumped onto the bed, licking Lily's face, urging her to move. He wasn't letting them wait. Ben, hearing the commotion, woke up as well. "What's going on?" he asked groggily, rubbing his eyes. "There's a fire. We need to leave right now," Sarah said urgently. She scooped Ben up and headed for the stairs. Max was already leading the way, darting down the hall toward the front door. His tail was down, his steps quick and sure. It wasn't just a family dog anymore. Max was their protector, guiding them through the growing smoke and panic. He barked at the bottom of the stairs, making sure they followed him out. Sarah followed, Ben in her arms, Lily clutching her hand, with Max leading the way through the thickening haze. Tom was behind them, his own heart racing as he looked back at the fire. The entire kitchen was now engulfed in flames, and it was spreading fast. There wasn't much time. As they reached the front door, Max stopped and turned to look at Sarah, waiting for her to open it. His eyes never left her face, watching her every move. The family spilled out onto the lawn, gasping for fresh air, their lungs burning from the smoke. They were out, but they were shaken. Max stood beside them, panting, his body covered in soot and ash, but his eyes still full of love and devotion. Behind them, the fire raged on, but Max had done what he was meant to do. He had alerted them just in time. Without him, they might not have made it out. Max had known before they did, sensing the danger in the air and acting when no one else could. The fire trucks arrived moments later, sirens blaring, and firefighters quickly went to work. But the Thompsons didn't need a watch. They were safe, standing together on the front lawn, watching as Max sat proudly at their feet. He had saved them, not with strength or power, but with love, instinct, and unwavering loyalty. Max had given them the most precious gift, a second chance. In moments of peril, it's not just strength that keeps us safe. Sometimes it's the unwavering loyalty of those who love us most. Max's bravery proves that love doesn't just protect. It sacrifices, it fights, and it saves. This family will never forget the dog who gave them a second chance at life. So, next time you see your furry friend, remember, they're not just pets. They're heroes waiting for the chance to prove it.